deep, no rabbit hole to lose. Laughs and jokes with the starry-eyed grin. Been a cop, you see, let the stories begin. Hey John, hey, let the stories unfold. From the weird and wild to the tales he's told. Hey John, hey, in your heart we believe. Ride the wave of truth as we live and we breathe. Unseen, cracking jokes like a comedy machine. Some conspiracy in the mix for sure. With John's narration, who could ask for more? Hey John, hey, let the stories unfold. From the weird and wild to the tales he's told. Hey John, hey, in your heart we believe. Ride the wave of truth as we live and we breathe. From the force told with such flair. From chasing bad guys to the big screen glare. Dive into mysteries, laugh till you cry. John's wild ride, always aiming high. Hey John, hey, let the stories unfold. From the weird and wild to the tales he's told. Hey John, hey, in your heart we believe. Ride the wave of truth as we live and we breathe. From the force told with such flair. From chasing bad guys to the big screen glare. Dive into mysteries, laugh till you cry. John's wild ride, always aiming high. Hey John, hey, let the stories unfold. From the weird and wild to the tales he's told. Hey John, hey, in your heart we believe. Ride the wave of truth as we live and we breathe.
Good evening and welcome. I'm glad there's not a lot of people on at the moment because this is a bit of a test. As you can see, things have changed slightly. We're going back to OBS. So a couple of things. How's the audio? Am I in sync or does it look like I'm behind or whatever? I should be okay. I did play all around with it this afternoon. How's the levels? Are they okay? All good? Excellent, excellent. Hi Ray. Yep, excellent. Good. So yeah, so we'll drop back into OBS and we'll be using that because there's no point in paying for something when I could do it free. And my little buddies are deserting me, you know, like Ben and who's ill, and Ed isn't deserting me, to be fair. He's still there, although I don't know if Journeying John's going to be back after the pasting I just gave him on Twitter. Yeah, I think he might be a communist. But I don't know how anyone can defend Starmer at this point in time. I really don't. The man is unbelievably bad. One, he doesn't have any presence whatsoever. He doesn't command any respect. Two, he seems to be just going, what's with the hardline approach? You know, what is it with the left these days? You know, they've gone so far left that they might as well all be Stalin. It's just ridiculous. I can't see the point in it at all. And I think Starmer's got a lot to do with how all this kicked off, because if he turned around on, you know, when he made his first statements, if he turned around and appealed for calm rather than telling people they were going to get to jail, and feel the full weight of the force of law on them. You know, these are kind of stupid things when something like a tragedy like that has happened, and then to put all your of the full weight of the law behind people who weren't even fucking involved in it. You know, these people aren't victims. They're making themselves out to be victims, but they're not victims. The victims are the 3 dead girls and the ones that get injured. And I still think there's more to this story to come out. And when it comes out, it's not going to be pretty. That's why they're all running scared. And that's why, I mean, you saw him on that lectern. He was terrified. That guy's lost it. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's ineffectual. He's incompetent. He shouldn't be there. He just doesn't have a freaking clue what he's doing. I have no respect for the man whatsoever. In fact, I think he's a clear and present danger to the safety of this country. I really do. I think he needs to be removed. And people said I don't see him doing a second term. To be fair, he shouldn't be doing another 2 days. He should be out. He should be out now. I never thought Rishi Sunak was right when he said Starmer would destroy the country in 100 days, and I suppose in effect he wasn't, because he was way too generous with the timescale he gave him. I mean, what's that, 33 days? Oh, funny that. But yeah, I mean, the country's falling apart and he's doing nothing to help. Nothing to help except stoke the flames of fire. You know, people are angry. They're getting nothing from the government, and you're now seeing 2-tier policing in action. I mean, what can you call it if it's not two-tier policing? When people, oh, I forgot my little light. When people are walking about with machetes and not getting arrested, what can you call it? You know, they're walking about with machetes, tire arms, tire levers, wrenches, whatever. And they're walking past the police, and the police are doing nothing. Nothing. That's not policing. And the whole thing's a mess. And I firmly believe Starmer's at the head of it. He's not doing anything to help it. I mean, he's not made one appeal for calm. All he's done is give it a hard line. You know, you'll feel the full, there'll be charges and you'll be found guilty. Yeah, that's good. Prejudging the outcome of a case. Yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like him at all. It doesn't matter what happens, Dreadeye. Digital ID, well, it'll be forced upon you because he's a communist. I mean, Starmer is an actual living to God communist. He's not a lefty, he's a freaking full-blown communist. And, yeah, they will force it upon us. And you know what? I'm not saying it. I can't say anything. I can't. Just remember, it only takes 1.5%. That's all you need to say. Right, anyway, and I did some counting up today because Hamza Yousaf's been on demanding the army should be sent in. I mean, what planet does this guy live on? Did he not see what happened in Northern Ireland? You know, you don't send the army in to do a public order role unless it's like Haiti or somewhere like that. You've got a civilized population. You don't send the army in, you use the police. Now, remember, there's only 75,000 soldiers in the army, and I don't know how many of them are based abroad at the moment, because a number of them are in Germany. Germany that starts with you. But a number of them are in Germany, and some will be in the Middle East as well. So I don't know how many soldiers we've actually got on home soil. There's 175,000 cops in this country. There's more than enough cops to deal with this, unless the 1.5% overtake. I don't blame you, Ray. I actually don't blame you. Yeah. It's, yeah, his wife is from that community, Ray, you're right. But he is a communist. So, where would you go other than Russia? I don't know. I mean, where could you go? I've tried. France is France is a joke. I could do with more light, couldn't I? I'm a bit dull. Do you think I'm dull? I don't mean intellectually, although some may say so, but right. Yeah. What's the criteria for immigrating to Russia, Ray? Is it extensive or is it fairly straightforward? I mean, you can move to Europe. You can move to any European country. They won't stop you. They'll just ask you to fill in a few forms. I mean, this whole Brexit thing is just nonsense. You know, I've got a 5 year. Well, it won't be 5 years now. We've been back for 2, but I've got a residency card for France. It wasn't hard to get. It didn't cost a lot of money. You know, it was like €50 or something. So yeah, you can move to most countries. They just and we nearly bought a house in Sweden, and that was probably our biggest mistake, not buying the house in Sweden. We should probably have just bought it and bit the bullet. But instead, we came back here to try and save the gym, and that was a mistake. Anyway, enough of my woes. Mr. Beast is in trouble, isn't he? So this is one of YouTube's biggest, if not the biggest, YouTuber. Millions of subscribers, makes them millions of money, makes himself millions of money. But some guy that was working for him for 2 or 3 weeks has come out and exposed a lot of the things he's doing. And you know, some of the things like some of the videos being scripted and faked, you can understand that because you probably can't get away without doing some of it scripted and faked. For instance, like the train into the pit and the school bus. You know, these videos. I don't really watch Mr. Beast, so I don't have an awful lot of time for him. But the things that really make this not look good for Mr. Beast are a number of things. One, the guy has been served with cease and desist letters from 2 lawyers, 2 legal companies on behalf of Mr. Beast's corporation. Now, saying he's breached his NDA, but the things that he's pointing out in the NDA are actually illegal. And an NDA can't protect you from people, you know, telling people that you're doing illegal things. So Mr. Beast is wrong here. And one of those illegal things is illegal lotteries. So he did a live stream. He did some live streams, particularly in Australia, I think, where people had to buy. They had to buy a Mr. Beast chocolate bar or something, and they had a thing in it, and they had a card, and then if you rubbed it out and you won or whatever, you were supposed to win a prize, and nobody ever did, even though they had winning combinations, and nobody ever won prizes. And then there was no age stipulation on this stuff, and there's a whole lot of legal things about betting, gaming, and lotteries, and he's breached most of them by the looks of things. So that's not something you should really be doing, because that will get you into serious trouble, and I think this will get him into serious trouble. He has taken I don't know if he didn't know they were illegal or something, but he's taken them down now. But these live streams were up until a couple of weeks ago when this guy released this video about the faking. And all Mr. Beast has done is, rather than address the issues, is address tiny things inside it. Like, for instance, there was a raccoon in one of the videos which people were petting, and the guy said, "This raccoon is a paid actor." Now, I can't see a wild raccoon allowing people to pet it. I might be wrong. I don't have a lot of raccoon experience. But I'm thinking a possibly semi-domesticated raccoon. But then again, who knows? Who knows? Right, next. What else did he do? Well, one of his employees had very dubious conversations on a Discord server when Mr. Beast, i.e., Mr. Beast himself, i.e., Jimmy, was on the server as well. So that's dodgy, because we're talking inappropriate conversations with minors. The same kind of thing that brought down Dr. Disrespect, who is now back and streaming. What the hell? What the hell's going on there? That's just weird. It's like, oh, I'll take a month off and then just go back to it. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. And then what else did Jimmy do? What else has he done? Faked the thing, the illegal lotteries and the... Oh, and here we go. Health and safety, American version. Apparently not been very good with health and safety for either the contestants or the people working for him. And there's been a number of illnesses, broken arms, starving people and making them eat his products on screen and things like that. So there's a whole raft of stuff around that, which doesn't sound very good either. It doesn't sound like it's exactly a caring foundation. And I think the people that support him try and bring out that he's been good with philanthropy, but I don't know if he has or not. It's just a bit weird. You know, when these people get to these sizes, everything just seems to go awry, doesn't it? You know, you're maybe better keeping your mouth shut and just keeping your head down and working away. Right, what else should we talk about? Oh, well, we've talked about the country, so I think we can leave that. What about the Middle East? Because we're waiting on retribution from Iran, and we touched on this on Friday, and to be fair, I did say at that point, I think Iran isn't ready. And I was quite surprised when you dig into things. You know, there's a number of countries that are standing up along with Israel to stop or to put pressure on other Arab countries not to attack Israel. And some of those countries standing with Israel are like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Egypt, you know. So yeah, the Middle East isn't as clear cut as you think. And if you remember, you know, some of those Saudi princes have actually been on telling people that the problem in the world is something that everybody says it isn't a problem. But if a Saudi prince can sit there and say the problem is this particular cult, if you know what I mean, then why wouldn't you believe him when he lives in a country that is effectively cult ruled? Well, I did say on Friday I don't think Iran's ready to do anything, because I think Israel would go tactical. They would, and the other thing is there might be some conversations going on, and I thought something like a small incursion or strike onto a northern Israeli town, but they won't be allowed to touch a big city or anything, but they might be able to drop something into northern Israel and as a kind of face-saving exercise. I know this sounds completely horrific, and why would people play with people's lives like this, but I think it happens all the time. It certainly seems to happen in this country as well, doesn't it, when you see what politicians do behind closed doors. Somebody was saying about, you're using the excuse to bring in more surveillance. I don't think we need more surveillance in the UK. And I actually don't think they being the government, I don't think they need any more surveillance either, because, if you remember, do you remember back to the London Docklands £3,000 bomb explosion by Pyro? That vehicle, this was 1996, that vehicle has an unbroken tracked record all the way from Stranraer all the way to London Docklands, and was under surveillance when it blew up. And I I know this for a fact. But yeah, so there's plenty of surveillance available, and you thinking that's nearly 30 years ago, that's 28 years ago. So how much more surveillance and how much more sophisticated is stuff now? Because within that vehicle was tracked from the moment it entered the UK. In fact, I think it was actually tracked from the moment it got on the ferry in Northern Ireland, and they knew something was up. Why they didn't stop it, I don't know. Maybe it went off early or something. But anyway, there you go. Oh, right, it appears nobody's going to the Olympics. Some of the tickets are now down to like 12 quid because nobody's turning up, and there was a picture of somebody sitting in the middle of the stands all on their own. Nobody else there. So I don't know what's going on in the Olympics. Apart from the fact that this whole boxing thing just reeks. It's just wrong. Just completely wrong. People shouldn't be allowed to do that. But I must say, I haven't been watching the Olympics. Apparently Paris is empty as well. The tourists have stayed away, and really, can you blame them? And this is another thing I don't understand. You get all these European politicians going on about what's happening in the UK right now. France has been on fire for the last 3 months. They've been having riots left, right and centre. Just because we don't do it very often, doesn't mean that we don't do it at all. But yeah. Place is a mess, isn't it? It's stupid. There was a guy, somebody snapped a picture today on Twitter of a guy coming out of Sainsbury's with his bottles under his arms. And of course they said this far lefty this far right fascist is looting Sainsbury's. And when you look at what the guy's looting, one, the guy was awfully well dressed, although he did have a half mask on. Secondly, he was looting white wine. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're looking for a far right fascist, I would have thought you'd be looking for somebody that was stealing beer, not bottles of white wine. The mind boggles. And then there's people there smashing up an O2 shop. It's like, it is mindless violence, but these things happen, and I'm pretty much sure when they had the Arab Spring, I'm pretty sure that shops get looted and smashed up there as well. It wasn't all just about getting the government out. And when Indonesia did the same, no, it wasn't Indonesia, it was Mauritius, wasn't it? Yeah, Sri Lanka, Ceylon. Not Mauritius, it was Sri Lanka. Or what, it used to be called Ceylon. Yeah. Anyway, they threw out their government, didn't they? I bet they get some looting done there as well. Yeah, I did see the guy with a tray of Greg's comestibles. I couldn't identify them as sausage rolls, but yeah. Shoe Zone. What? I don't even know what Shoe Zone is, but it sounds like a cheap shoe shop. France has been protesting all your life, you're right. It is a hobby. Right. So did you know that manufacturers of cycles have been playing fast and loose with the British public? Because many of their bikes have weight limits that they're not really disclosing, or they're not putting them up front. And I think there's quite a few lycra-clad lardasses out there who are going to come up foul with broken frames and whatever because they're putting too much weight on the bike. So I think these people don't understand that, the laws of physics do, and metallurgy. I don't know how you pronounce that one. It's not a word I use very often. But yeah, the science of metal fatigue. I think maybe they need to have a look into that. Maybe you should. And it's like office chairs. People don't understand that office chairs are only certified to 17 stone. And I know this because we had an incident where someone who worked for me broke an office chair. And they said, I'm going to sue. And I said, well, hold on a minute. I think we have to establish a few facts here. One, what weight are the chairs certified to take? And secondly, what weight are you? So I went away and dug, and I found out the chairs are only certified to take 17 stone. So if you're over 17 stone, you shouldn't be sitting in an office chair. There you go. And if you are over 17 stone and you are sitting in an office chair, then maybe you need to be asking your employer for a chair that's safe enough to take the weight that you are displacing, shall we say. Can't afford to be fattest, can we? I did become the weight twat. Yeah, you're right, Gooba. Anyway, a cheap fake crock shop. Good grief. Shoes on. Oh, right. What else we got? Right, here's one I came across today. Now, don't ask me how I came across this. It's I found this in the journal Psychology Today. So, pebbling, a delightful dating trend inspired by penguins. So, and I'll read some of this. If you ever find yourself in Antarctica, you'll likely happen across colonies of Gentoo penguins living together in harmony. These charming birds aren't just social, but they're also incredibly romantic, like many other penguin relatives. And they mate for life. And what they do is, once they've decided they want to mate with another penguin, the male will go out and search for the smoothest and most rounded pebble he can find. And then he'll bring it back and present it to the female. Should this pebble meet her expectations, right? They will then build a nest basically on top of that pebble, and forevermore they will be a mating pair. So there you go. So I think the whole thing about the Psychology Today thing is that people are thinking that pebbling is something that humans do as well, and some of them have even gone as far to say, and I'm looking at Ed here, right, that meme sharing in particular can be most likened to pebbling in today's day and age. Instead of collecting twigs, berries, or pretty rocks, we share photographs, TikToks, or funny tweets that we think our loved ones would enjoy. Is this the kind of thing that my show does? You know, I share funny stories and memes and tweets. It's our very modern human way of saying, I found this lovely thing and I think I want you to have it. So I'm pebbling you people. This is freaking. These people get paid for this. These people get paid to write this pish. Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It really is ridiculous. He's racist. He wishes women were as easy. Well, they kind of are, aren't they? You throw nice presents at them, and well, some of them, yeah. Right. Gooba says, I think that may be what we're witnessing, my love, for you have handpicked the finest sausage roll in the land. Indeed. Right. I was thinking about, what time is it? It's 26 minutes. I'm just wondering whether it is a bank holiday tomorrow, mate. Yeah. I've got 10 viewers. I just wondered whether to tell you some stories from the front line. Just trying to think. I think if we've got any appropriate stories. I should have prepared one, shouldn't I? Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. Did I tell you the stories about the miners' strikes? Have I mentioned them before? And the fighting that occurred. And I saw because what twigged that one for me was there was a picture of a guy in front of police giving what appeared to be, shall we say, an Austrian painter's salute. So he appeared to be doing this and giving it to the police, and I thought, well, and this guy's are saying, this MP was going on, there is no place for this kind of thing in Britain today. This guy should be locked up. And I'm thinking, when you looked at him, he looked fairly normal. He didn't look like for instance, the far right guy who was festooned in tattoos and whatever. This guy looked fairly normal, and I'm thinking, do you think maybe he's just indicating to the police that he thinks they're being a little bit heavy-handed? Because I think there is a little bit of two-tier policing going on here, as we've already discussed. So anyway, during the miners' strike, I was based at Hunterston most of the time. And it was usually quite quiet. You would get, we would go up in a couple of vans and we'd be there most of the day. The miners would turn up. They'd maybe turn up in a couple of buses. So there's like 20 of us and, 100 or so of them. And it was all fairly reasonable. There was just a bit of scuffling when the lorries come in and out. And then sometimes we need to get some more cops in and things like that. Yeah, that's exactly what I think, Ray, he was. So we're there, and then one day we're there early. We're there at 7 o'clock because I was based there, and all the other cops that came from other places had to be brought in. So we just come up from Irvine. So we're there on the hill, and we're watching what's going on, and then all these buses start coming past and dropping off all these miners. And the numbers just start going sky high, right? You're looking 200, 300, 400 miners, and we're going, whoa, we are well outnumbered here. And the buses kept coming, and they kept coming, and the miner numbers are swelling by the minute. And the buses are still coming. I'm looking at the buses, and I'm looking at the buses as they're going by, and I'm thinking, hold on, these buses have got different people in them. So the buses had switched. Well, the buses that are going by were now bringing cops in because obviously, the hierarchy had decided that there was going to be a confrontation here. So cops start appearing. But the buses that dropped the cops off would go past where we were, round a corner, and then drop them all at a central, not a central point, but a muster point. They would muster up. And then this crocodile of cops comes marching round the corner. And it's just like they're all they're marching 2 by 2. And we actually do get taught how to march. When we go to the police college at Tullyallen, there's quite a lot of parade ground work. And the drill sergeants, they went to they would go to Catterick for 3 months or something and learn how to be a drill sergeant. So we actually did get taught how to march properly. And these cops were all marching around the corner. And the miners are seeing this and they're going, those aren't cops. Cops can't march. Those are soldiers. And the miners convinced themselves that this was soldiers that was coming in dressed as cops. And they think about it. How would you even start to do that? Every cop's got a uniform that fits them. And these guys have all got uniforms that fit them. They've all got numbers. The logistics beyond would be unbelievably difficult to pull off. So anyway, they were all cops. I mean, I knew some of them. So Then we faced off, and the lorries come down. And there's this big stramash and a big fight and everything, and you're fighting and lifting people, and they're getting taken away and things like that. And I mean, these people are fighting for their jobs. And I was a young boy. I was only 20, 23, 24, something like that. I just thought it was a great laugh. And when you think back on it, you know, these people were fighting for their jobs, but they were never going to win. That was the thing. They were never going to keep minds open. They were never going to win because the world had changed. And when the world changed, you've got to let it change. And sometimes when you think about things and look at what's happening in the world today, is that what's happening? Is the world changing? And we'll never get it back. And I think it is to a degree. I think the world is changing. And I think certain countries will ride it out and certain countries won't. And if you think back to the rabbit hole we did on Thursday about the black nobility, Italy rode it out quite well, you know, because even though they were taken over by Goths and Visigoths and whatever, the Italians kind of kept their culture and kept their hierarchy going. But Spain, on the other hand, was overrun by the Moors, and they took 500 years to get them back out. You know, and the same thing seems to be happening again in Spain. So, is it the fourth turning? Is it the start of, is it the end of the chaos period and the start of the disillusion of Western society? Is it something that's going to take 30 years or is it something that's going to take 300 years? It's difficult to tell, isn't it? But there is a change in the air. And you can't go on with the level of you can't go on with the level of legal migration that we've been letting in. And this is where, you know, when you listen to Farage, he makes sense on some occasions because, you know, you can't sustain that. I mean, what was it, like 250,000 people a year? That's 1 million over 4 years. That's a ridiculous amount of people to start. And many of them are initially unproductive. So the illegals actually don't account for a large proportion of migration. I mean, I think it's what, 60 to 100,000 or something over the last couple of years. But I might be wrong. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. It's difficult to know what to do and how would you address this? If you were in a position of power, how would you address this? You know, I think you could certainly tighten up your borders. And you could tighten up your immigration processes. Excuse me. I think with being an island, that, you know, we shouldn't really be in this position where people are coming in the way they are. Oh, excuse me. I did not mean. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure how we should address it and how we can address it, because it it's affecting, you know, the way that our country exists, because you see a lot of things that you've not seen before, and then you get people who are overtly against white people, like Hamza Yusuf is such an actual, you like to use that word, racist or whatever, but he really is, because I mean, how did anyone get away with that speech that he made in the Scottish Parliament? And the other guy, the Labour guy, Enos says what? You know, he's just as bad. He made a very similar speech. Yeah. So anyway, no, none of the police were soldiers in the miners' strike, mate. None of them. why? Why would you? There are so many cops that there's no need. You don't need the army to bolster your numbers, and you can't use the army as policemen. They operate under completely different rules of engagement, even when they're in a civilian setting. It's just asking for trouble. Yeah, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. And I can assure you, none of the police, certainly in Scotland, were soldiers, and I can't see any force having to do that, because you have mutual aid. You've only got a certain amount of pits and things. There was no need. There was no need for it to happen, and it certainly didn't. It certainly didn't. Oh, excuse me. Right. I think that's pretty much me, actually. And I think I need to go and clear my nostrils, or sinuses, or whatever you call them. But, yeah. How did you find the setup tonight? Everything okay? Audio okay? I've been working on the audio all day to try and make it so that it's not too loud and not too quiet. Even if I shout, it shouldn't be too loud. I don't know if that blew your head off or if it should have stayed much the same. Oh, excuse me. Do you like this little graphic thing I made? I made that in DaVinci Resolve. If you don't like it, I can turn that off. Carol said OBS is better. Yeah, OBS seems to have really picked up since I've been away from it. It's the quality on screen here looks really, really good. And obviously I've not had any glitches tonight. Oh, and you'll be pleased to know, should you ever want to do the old Kofi, the air horn's back. Yeah. The air horn is back, baby. Crisp picture. Don't like the graphic, yeah? No, that's fine. I mean, I don't know if it's annoying or not, because it's kind of annoying me a little bit. But hey, I'll maybe tweak it. It was loud on the speakers, but I don't think it clipped, which is the main thing. Slightly annoying. Yeah, okay. I'll turn down the graphic or I'll take it away. Do one or the other, mate. I'll do one or the other. I might make something else. Ed and I might be interviewing someone on Tuesday, so watch out for that. It'll be a recording and then we'll put it down. Slow it down. Yeah, it is quite quick, isn't it, Ray? Anyway, yeah, I'll see what I can do. What else? I think that's us. Yeah, everything else seems to be okay. I mean, I can turn it off. I can turn where is it? What's it called? That one. Boom. There you go. That gets rid of that. Right. But thank you for bearing with me tonight, and thank you for hanging in there. Things can only get better, can they? Hey, I don't know. I'm sure it's been great for you.
Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.